Welcome back, my dear learners. P4 English. I hope everybody is following, ready to learn. Nakanjako Viola, my name. So, as last time we talked about conjunctions, we said a conjunction is a joining word. It joins two sentences. And then we looked at the kinds of conjunctions where we have the coordinating conjunctions, which join sentences with equal weight or that are grammatically equal. Then we looked at the subordinating conjunctions, and then we looked at the correlative conjunctions. Now, this session we are going to go through what we call subordinating conjunctions. What is a subordinating conjunction? In English, we say subordinating conjunction joins a subordinate or dependent clause to a main clause. These ones here, in most cases, we have a main clause and then we have a dependent clause. In most cases, this dependent clause explains more about the main clause. It cannot even stand on its own. Rather, it has to depend on the main clause. So when we are having a subordinate clause, it is joined to the main clause using what we call subordinating conjunction. Join sentences that are subordinate or join subordinate clauses to main clauses. In English, a clause is the same as a sentence. So, we come and look at the examples of subordinating conjunctions. There are very many here, I just list a few. So, if someone is following, let us read together. We have although, we have because, since, unless, as, if, when, while, and when you see these dots, that means the list is still continuing. So, these are some of the examples of subordinating conjunctions. And we shall be looking at subordinating conjunction, some one by one. So, we are going to look at the use of although. How do you use although in sentences as an example of subordinating conjunction? So we say, although is used to join sentences which do not agree, they contrast. They give different meaning. What you expect of something is not what you get. So that is when we are using although. Sentences that do not agree. And we say when used at the beginning, comma, it is followed by a condition, and a comma is used to separate the two sentences. What do we mean here? Although as a conjunction, this although as a conjunction, it is used at the beginning of the sentence and then within the sentence. Now the second bulletin is telling us when we are using although at the beginning of the sentence, first we follow it with a condition, what we see, and then we put a comma to separate the two sentences. What we see, and then the outcome. After writing what we see, then we shall put a comma, and then we put what we expect. And here, the third one is when although is used within the sentence, it begins with a result and ends with a condition. These are two sentences now which do not agree. And when we are using it within the sentence, we have what we call the result. You may see someone very beautiful and that person is not married. There is the condition is the person being beautiful. What is happening now? We expect all beautiful ladies to be married. But what will happen? You will find this beautiful girl, and what will be the result? This beautiful girl is not married. Now not being married is the result. And the condition is that beautiful girl, that girl being so beautiful. So that's what we say, that when we are using although within the sentence, we begin with the result and then we end with a condition. So we have examples of these sentences that we use to join although that do not agree at all. What we see is not what we get. What we expect is not what we get. For example, we have the sentence, Tina worked very hard. Tina worked very hard. She did not get a first grade. Oh, this was very heartbreaking. What do we expect? We expect someone who is working very hard, really, to get a first grade. Maybe this girl was every time consulting teachers, revising, not playful in class, but the result were heartbreaking. This girl did not get a first grade. What a disappointment. So, when we are joining these sentences using although, we are going to do it in two ways. Using although at the beginning and then using although within the sentence. So, the first answer is, although Tina worked very hard, this is the condition now. Although Tina worked very hard, this is the comma we are talking about. She did not get a first grade. Now, after putting a comma, unless the first word is a proper noun, but when it is not a proper noun, it is supposed to be a small letter, unless it is a proper noun. So, this is what we call a condition. She worked very hard, but the results were heartbreaking. She did not get a first grade. You can see that these two sentences contrast, because we expect someone who works very hard to get a first grade. Now, although within the sentence, still this same question can be put although at the beginning, and we can still put although within the sentence. Now, we said that when we are putting although within the sentence, we are going to begin with the result. What was our result? Our result was this girl did not get a first grade. So here we are saying Tina did not get a first grade, although she worked very hard. This is the result. The result was heartbreaking. She didn't get a first grade. However much she worked very hard. So although within the sentence, now there is no comma, but still we begin with the result and then the condition. Okay, we have another example. And this example is, she is very beautiful. Her being very beautiful, what happened? We expect someone who is very beautiful. When she joins the beauty contest, she must win. What happened? She's very beautiful. She failed to win the beauty contest. So this sentence are contrasting. Why? This one being very beautiful, we expect her to come with a trophy of being the best. But she didn't become the best. So when you're joining it using although, the condition is she's very beautiful. So we said when we are putting although at the beginning of the sentence, we follow it with a condition and then a comma is put to separate the two sentences. So we are going to say, although she is very beautiful, she failed to win the beauty contest. So she came back empty-handed. Then, although within the sentence, we are going to say, she failed to win the beauty contest, although she is very beautiful. Now this is the result. She didn't win. although she's very beautiful. So that is how we use although at the beginning of the sentence, and then within the sentence the emphasis is the comma. Although at the beginning we emphasize the use of a comma, and then the use of a small letter in case this one is not a proper noun. But when it is a proper noun, we don't put it in small letter. I think you know that all proper nouns we use capital letters. So after learning and after understanding how to use although, I'm going to leave you with an activity. This activity we are going to use although, join the sentences using although. So in these sentences, I will expect 2 answers. You will be putting for me although at the beginning and then although within the sentence on the question, each question. For example, you say, the sky was cloudless, the weather was cold. Yes, we expect when the sky is very clear, we expect the weather to be warm. But what happened? The sky was cloudless, but still the weather was cold. So you're going to say, although the sky was cloudless, comma, the weather was cold. And then we shall come within the sentence and we shall say, the weather was cold, although the sky was cloudless. You end with a full stop. Any grammatically correct sentence in English must end with a full stop if it is a statement. If it is a question, it must end with a question mark. So I expect someone to sit and do these numbers for me. When we come back, we shall be looking at another thing. Love you so much. Stay safe.